I never thought I'd see a ghost in my own neighborhood. But there he was, clear as day, standing in front of the old, abandoned church on Maple Street. It all started when I moved back to the neighborhood. My mom needed help after she fell and broke her hip, so I came back home. The place hadn't changed much, but it felt different. Older, maybe. One night I was walking back from the corner store. It was late, around 11 p.m., and the streets were quiet. I decided to take a shortcut through Maple Street. That's when I saw him. A man, tall and slim, wearing a long, dark coat, stood in front of the church. He looked familiar, but I couldn't place him. As I got closer, I realized who it was. Jamal Davis. He was a few years older than me, but we went to the same high school. Everyone knew Jamal. He was loud, proud, and didn't care what anyone thought. He was also one of the few openly gay men in our community. Back then, that was a big deal. People talked about him, whispered behind his back, but Jamal never let it get to him. But Jamal disappeared years ago. Some said he left for New York to chase his dreams. Others said something bad happened to him, but no one knew for sure. "Jamal," I called out, unsure if it was really him. He turned and looked at me, his eyes sad but warm. "Hey," he said softly, his voice just like I remembered. "Been a long time." I nodded, too stunned to say much. "Yeah, it has." We stood there for a moment just looking at each other. Then he spoke again. "Do you remember that night, the one before I left?" I did. It was prom night. Jamal had shown up in a stunning red dress, bold as ever. Some people laughed, others were angry, but Jamal walked in like he owned the place. That night, someone slashed his tires and left hateful messages on his car. He didn't cry or shout. He just left. "Yeah, I remember," I said quietly. "I never left," Jamal said, his voice heavy with pain. "They never let me leave." A chill ran down my spine. "What do you mean?" He looked at the church, then back at me. "They found me that night after prom. A group of guys. They beat me up, dragged me here. I fought, but there were too many. They left me here to die." I felt sick. Why are you here now?" "I can't move on," he said. "I need someone to know the truth. I need someone to remember me, not just as the guy who wore a dress, but as a person." I swallowed hard. "I remember you, Jamal. You were brave. You were strong." He smiled, but it was a sad smile. "Thank you." The next morning I went to the church. I called the cops, told them what I knew. They didn't believe me at first, but they dug around. They found Jamal's remains buried in the basement. The news shook the community. People started talking, remembering him, not as a ghost, but as Jamal, the boy who dared to be himself. Jamal finally got his peace, and I made sure his story was told. He wasn't just a ghost. He was a reminder of the strength it takes to be true to yourself, even when the world isn't ready for you.